So you'll have your peg attached back here, and then press this in here. So we'll do that later. First off, what I'm going to do is clean this up a little bit. See, there's some support material here. This isn't necessary here, but when you select supports, depending on the software you use, it'll generate supports everywhere it thinks are needed. So if we clean out this support material, simple like that, and we just give this a little tug, and you've got a loose toe. Now they are loose. If you want to tighten them up, what you could do is you could use some Mod Podge, which is white glue mixed with water. Put a few coats inside there. Put a coat inside there, let it dry. Put another coat inside there, let it dry until you're satisfied with how stiff the joints, these toe joints are. If I make them too tight, depending, if I make the tolerances here too much, sorry about that, stumbling over my words. If I make the gaps here too narrow, it risks fusing these joints together. Now the big one, the middle one, and the big one is nice and stiff because of the size of it. So there's all your toes. And then your back toe. And this all prints as one. Now this joint here has a soft ratchet inside. You can't see it here, but there is a ratcheting setup in there. And this is going to take quite a bit of force to break free. And the reason for that is because of the weight of this bot, or the combiner that this is going to be supporting. You're going to need a stiff joint here. So this is going to take some prying to get this free. So there, it's loose, but it's still tight. So if you work it back and forth a couple of times, it'll loosen up. Okay, just like that. And I see that's what I mean by ratcheting. Let me put this in one more time. There we go. You'll see there's clicks here. Click, another click, another click. So there's little clicks in there, and we have a nice stiff ankle pivot. Just going to clean that up a little bit there. And a little bit of a damage I made now. The way this prints is this peg prints, because it's laying on the bed, you're going to have a flat spot. We need to trim that a little bit in order for this to fit both the bot and the foot. So I just take a utility knife and needle nose pliers, and I just trim that flat spot a little bit, round it out. Now that I've done that, I take the needle nose pliers and the peg, and I line it up, and it's going to take some force here. Once this peg is in, it doesn't come out. And the way the peg prints on its side is on purpose. It gives it better structural rigidity. Otherwise, just putting the peg on here like this, it could snap off under even a minor amount of pressure. So there's our peg, and now that peg is really strong because of the way it printed. And then our foot is ready for one of our bots. Just take that, line it up there, press it in place. There you go. Here we have one of the hands and one of the oversized Abominus' feet all painted up. A little bit of depth in here. I've got a black wash on this magenta color that I've painted on here, and some gold trim as well as some white accents. On the hand I've got some gold trim, and there are areas of the hand that I chose to leave unpainted to give it, again, some white accents, as I feel that complements the magenta well. And this is the color scheme I went with. It's, you know, personal preference for each and every one of us. So I'd like to go over to hand. I went over to feet, and I'd like to go over to hand really quick here. I don't have a sample waiting for the joints to be snapped, so I'll have to go over here. All the joints in the hand should be relatively easy to break free, except for this one right here, and the reason for that is because this one will break free before this one, and once you've broken this one free, this is going to want to spin around. So what you have to do is you turn the finger here, and you're going to have to grab a pair of needle nose pliers, and you're going to have to snap that like that, and it's going to require a little bit of force, but once it snaps and breaks free, you should be good. If you find, and you could do this ahead of time, that it might be a little stiff in there, you might have a little bit of area fused, you can take a small utility knife or a very thin putty knife, and you can just wedge this open a little bit right here and here before you snap it, and that will reduce the risk of actually breaking that double ball joint. Now the thumb on my new and improved thumb is very posable. It can come up like that, fold over like this, across, go like, fold all the way here like this. Plus it's got the two joints here, come up to that. There's a ball joint in the base of all the fingers. They can be sprawled out a little bit. And then they have a joint here and a joint here, and this thing can make a very convincing fist with a little bit of manipulation. The base on this thing also spins. You can pose the hands various ways. Anyways, you guys get the idea. This is a 5mm port with a 2.5mm slot, and all my weapons and guns, melee weapons, they're designed to fit these ports in their hands. That's pretty much it on hand. It prints like this. It will require support material for the ball joints. This one here was almost a fail because I had the base of the ball joints actually let go and move up here, but it still worked out. Again, this joint here will be the hardest to break free. These joints here, you just go like that to snap them free. These two joints here, you'll need 2 pairs of pliers and snap, and then this one and snap, and you go through them one finger at a time. And I have had bad luck where I've had spots fuse and I've had to reprint the hand. That's probably 1 in 5 hands that I print that'll happen. So here's your hand for your oversized Abominus, and your foot. On to the next parts. Okay, this is a quick overview and how-to for my 3D printed upgrades for Aoyi mix oversize Abominus or Terracons. So we're going to take a look at this oversized Hungar, and we're going to prep him up for his 3D printed add-ons. So I already have him in his combiner mode, and he looks like this, but we're going to do some modifications in order to put my add-ons on. Firstly, this is going to become his back and not his front. So we're going to turn his head around. We're going to turn his legs around. And this is going to become his front. His tail. There's little tabs here that prevent it from going farther than here. Now, I shave them. It's optional. It'll just allow you to put the tail back further, like that. and he'll have a tail in the back. So we're going to untab these. We're going to need to temporarily open these for a moment. We have this 3D printed part here. It's going to help hold the new chest armor in place. So it's just going to go over like that, fit in there, and then we tab these pieces back in place. And then we tab these back in place like that. And we've got this component here. Here is the new chest armor. I have mine all painted up. Some emblems on it. We have these slots with these tabs here. These slots are going to correspond to these tabs here, and these tabs here correspond to these slots here. Before we put that on, we also have these waist skirts that are 3D printed, all painted up. From behind, the waist skirt, snap it into place like that, and then we've got articulated waist skirt. Same with the other side, snap it into place, articulated waist skirt, and then you just take this, line up all your slots, and then that is his upgraded armor. So that, everything else, the hands and the feet, they're pretty basic. They plug into the ports. This is the only real complicated part that requires some different transformation of Hungar himself, and we end up having this nice new full body armor, and we've got a filled out back now on him, on the back of Hungar. One other thing, I have these optional waist skirts. They just go over and on top, down like that, into place. They print with this articulated side skirt. Just over the top and down on top, like that, and they're in place. They're not necessary. They give him a bigger upper waist, but you can't really see his upper waist anymore when you've got the new body armor on. So again, they're not necessary. I'm going to set him aside for a moment. We're going to take a look at our arm filler pieces here. It really helps, really fills out the arms, and gives them an overall beefier look. So these are the new hands, fully articulated hands. 3D print as one assembly, and I briefly go over how to break all the joints on these, and again, there's only one here that's a little difficult, but other than that, if we take a look here, there's two separate arm fillers. I don't have arm fillers for the other two bots. I went with these two bots as the arm fillers. These arm fillers only work with each of these individual bots. This arm filler right here only works with this specific bot. It has tabs inside in the center area. I open this up and pop one of his legs out, which is easier said than done. They're easier to get in than they are to get out. Because they want to all bend and flex. Okay. There we go. So everything snaps into place. So there's a tab here, a square tab that will only fit, and I can't remember their names. I only remember Hungar's name. That will only fit into this opening in this guy's leg. And when you get his leg inside there, it'll fit in the tab, and then you can close the lower legs up once they're in their tabs. You can close this lower leg back up, and that will sit in there snug, and it will fill in the area that, and look what I did. So I have to open his legs up here because these, on these guys, these little clips here, even on the original, like to come undone when you're playing around with the arm. Okay, so what I was saying, these filler pieces help really fill out the arm, give it that extra bulky look. I find all these Hasbro knockoffs, Hasbro in general, with using the legs as part of the arm, really make the arms look scraggly. So these really help fill them out. And again, for whatever this guy's name is, he has 2 slots on either side that will fit into his legs. So again, there I have 2 arm filler pieces, but they are dedicated to these 2 individual bots. They will not work with the other 2. And as I said, these are the 2 bots I went with for the limbs. And just designing multiple versions of these will get confusing fast. And they're all different in their legs and how they're set up. Okay. So that concludes this short video. Mainly focusing on the body and how we get this guy put together, and we can just attach his limbs and we'll take a few stills. And he does come with the gun, the upgrade kit, as well as a funky new sword.